You know what's funny, Zach? When people talk about growing up, they always imagine adding things more skills, more money, more confidence, more control. But no one really tells you that maturity is actually about subtraction, about letting go. And honestly, that realization hit me way later than I'd like to admit.
Yeah, totally. Growing up sounds glamorous on paper, but in real life, it's more like cleaning out an emotional closet you've been stuffing junk into for years. And half the time, you don't even realize how heavy those boxes are until your back starts hurting. So when you say letting go, what was the first thing you had to drop?
Unrealistic expectations. Hands down. I used to expect everything to line up perfectly career, relationships, timing, even my own emotions. I thought if I worked hard enough, life would meet me halfway. But life doesn't work like that. It doesn't read your vision board. And when things didn't go according to plan, I took it personally, like I had failed at being human.
That hits close to home. I think expectations are sneaky because they disguise themselves as motivation. You tell yourself, I'm just aiming high. But deep down, you're setting standards that no real human or real situation can consistently meet. And then you end up disappointed, bitter, or worse, resentful.
Exactly. And the worst part is, you don't just project those expectations onto life, you project them onto people, friends, partners, even family. You expect them to behave a certain way, show up a certain way, love you the way you imagined in your head. And when they don't, it feels like betrayal, even though they never signed that contract.
Right. It's like we write invisible rule books and get mad when people don't follow them. I remember expecting my parents to suddenly understand me once I became an adult, like some switch would flip. Spoiler alert, it didn't. Letting go of that expectation was painful, but also freeing.
Freeing is the right word. When I stopped expecting people to fill emotional gaps they were never equipped to fill, I felt lighter. Not happy all the time, but lighter, like I could finally breathe without holding my breath for someone else to change.
And that ties directly into control, doesn't it? Because expectations are basically our way of trying to control outcomes. We tell ourselves, if I expect this and plan enough, I'll be safe. But control is such an illusion. We cling to it like a life raft, even when it's clearly leaking.
Oh, I was the CEO of control. I wanted to control conversations, outcomes, impressions, even how people felt about me. I thought being in control meant being strong, but it actually meant being terrified of uncertainty. Letting go of control felt like stepping off a cliff with no safety net.
Same here. I used to think if I didn't control things, everything would fall apart. Turns out, most things fall apart anyway, whether you micromanage them or not. Accepting the limits of control was humbling. It forced me to admit that I'm not the director of the universe, I'm just a participant.
And there's something strangely comforting about that. Once you accept that you can't control everything, you stop blaming yourself for every single thing that goes wrong. You realize some things are just out of your hands, and that's not a personal failure, it's reality.
Exactly. It's like the saying, you can't pour from an empty cup. Trying to control everything drains you. Letting go gives you energy back. But I think one of the hardest things to let go of is people, especially toxic relationships.
Oh yeah, that one took me years. I stayed in friendships that drained me, justified bad behavior, made excuses for people who constantly crossed my boundaries. I told myself loyalty meant enduring anything, but that kind of loyalty was costing me my peace.
I think a lot of us confuse familiarity with safety. Just because someone's been in your life for a long time doesn't mean they deserve permanent access to you. Letting go of toxic relationships feels cruel at first, like you're abandoning someone, but sometimes you're just choosing yourself.
And the guilt is real. You replay conversations in your head, wondering if you're overreacting, if you're too sensitive. But then your body tells the truth. The anxiety before seeing them, the exhaustion after talking to them, that's information. Growth is learning to listen to it.
Absolutely. I once heard someone say, peace is expensive, but it's worth the price. Cutting off or distancing from toxic people isn't dramatic. It's maintenance, it's emotional hygiene. And once you experience life without constant tension, you realize how heavy that baggage really was.
Letting go of those relationships also forced me to confront my ego, because sometimes we stay in unhealthy situations not out of love, but out of pride. We don't want to admit we were wrong about someone, or that we tolerated less than we deserved.
That's a tough pill to swallow. Ego hates being wrong. Ego loves the story where you're the hero who endures everything. But growth asks you to retire that old version of yourself, the one who equated suffering with strength.
Yes, I used to wear my struggles like badges of honor. Look how much I've survived. But at some point, survival isn't enough. You want to live, not just endure. Letting go of the old ego meant admitting I didn't have to prove anything anymore.
And that's where real maturity kicks in, when you stop reacting just to protect your pride, when you don't need to win every argument or be right all the time. Letting go of ego creates space for learning, for empathy, for growth.
It also changes how you see yourself. You stop defining your worth by external validation or past identities. You realize you're allowed to evolve, to outgrow versions of yourself that once made sense but no longer fit.
And honestly, that's scary, because letting go means stepping into the unknown. You don't know who you'll be without those expectations, that control, those people, that ego. But staying stuck is scarier in the long run.
Exactly. Growth isn't loud. It's quiet decisions, uncomfortable goodbyes, and choosing peace over pride. Letting go isn't giving up. It's leveling up.
And that's the thing no one tells you. Letting go isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It's choosing what actually matters instead of just what feels familiar.
You know, hearing you say that letting go is leveling up really sticks with me. Because once you actually drop all that emotional weight, something weird happens. You suddenly have space. Not just physical or mental space, but creative space, emotional space. It's like opening a window in a room you didn't realize was suffocating you.
Yeah, that space is underrated. People think growth is about hustling harder, pushing more, doing more. But sometimes growth shows up when you finally stop doing the wrong things, when you stop clinging. Letting go creates room for new ideas, new people, even new versions of yourself to walk in.
Exactly. I remember after I let go of a job that no longer aligned with who I was becoming, I felt terrified at first. Like, what have I done? But a few months later, opportunities showed up that I never would have noticed before. It was like life was saying, finally, you cleared the runway.
That's such a good way to put it. When you're holding on to outdated beliefs or old identities, there's no room for growth to land. Letting go is basically saying, I trust myself enough to step into something new, and that trust builds resilience in a way nothing else does.
Resilience, yes. People think resilience comes from surviving hard things, but I think it also comes from knowing when to walk away, from choosing rest over burnout, from realizing you don't have to bleed to prove you're strong.
Totally. I used to think being resilient meant never breaking, never slowing down. Now I see it as flexibility, being able to bend without snapping. Letting go of the need to always be tough actually made me tougher in the long run.
And calmer. Don't forget calmer. Once you stop fighting every wave, you learn how to float. You're still moving, but you're not drowning anymore. That's where inner peace starts sneaking in, not as fireworks, but as quiet mornings and steady breathing.
Inner peace is such a misunderstood concept. People imagine it as this permanent state of happiness, like monks on the mountain. But for me, peace showed up as fewer arguments in my head, less second-guessing, less replaying old conversations at 2 a.m.
Same. Peace isn't loud joy, it's silence where anxiety used to live. And letting go played a huge role in that. When I stopped obsessing over outcomes and opinions, I felt freer. Not careless, but lighter. Like I wasn't carrying the whole world on my shoulders anymore.
Freedom is the real payoff, isn't it?
Emotional freedom, the kind where you don't need approval to feel okay, where your self-worth isn't hanging by a thread tied to someone else's reaction.
Yes, and it's funny, once you stop chasing validation, people actually respect you more. Not because you're trying harder, but because you're grounded. You're not performing anymore. You're just real.
That authenticity attracts the right things and repels the wrong ones, which is just as important. Letting go teaches you discernment. You stop saying yes out of fear and start saying yes out of alignment.
And that shift changes how you experience the present moment. You're no longer stuck in regret about the past or anxiety about the future. You start noticing small things, the way coffee tastes in the morning, the sound of laughter, the fact that you're here, breathing, alive.
It's wild how presence sneaks up on you once you let go of mental clutter. You realize that most of your stress wasn't about what was happening, it was about what you were imagining. Letting go brings you back to now, and now is usually manageable.
More than manageable. Sometimes it's beautiful, but we miss it because we're too busy holding on to stories that no longer serve us, old grudges, old fears, old definitions of success.
And letting go of those stories doesn't mean forgetting the lessons, it just means you stop living inside the pain. You take the wisdom and leave the weight behind.
That's such a mature way to put it. Growth isn't erasing the past, it's integrating it. Understanding that every version of you did the best they could with what they knew at the time.
Exactly. And once you make peace with that, self-compassion becomes easier. You stop being your own harshest critic. You become your own ally.
Which is huge, because when life throws curveballs, and it always does, you don't collapse anymore. You adapt. You trust yourself to figure it out. That confidence doesn't come from control, it comes from letting go.
Letting go teaches you that you're capable of surviving change, of starting over, of rebuilding. And once you know that, fear loses a lot of its power.
Fear doesn't disappear, but it stops running the show. You acknowledge it, but you don't obey it. That's real freedom.
And that freedom allows you to live more intentionally. You stop rushing, you stop comparing, you stop measuring your life against someone else's highlight reel.
You start honoring your own pace, your own journey, and that's when growth feels less like pressure and more like expansion.
So, if we had to sum it up, letting go creates space for renewal, builds resilience, brings inner peace, and anchors you in the present. That's a pretty solid return on investment.
Not bad for something that sounds so scary at first. Letting go isn't about losing, it's about choosing what's worth keeping.
And sometimes the bravest thing you can do is loosen your grip and trust that what's meant for you won't pass you by.
Because what's truly yours doesn't need to be forced. It flows, and growth happens not when you hold tighter, but when you finally let go.
Couldn't have said it better. That's maturity. That's freedom, and honestly, that's peace.